Hello everyone, so today I thought I'd show you guys how you can begin blacksmithing in your backyard for practically nothing. So, because I know that on YouTube, you see all these guys and they've got 8 belt grinders and 3 power hammers and a hydraulic press and a lathe and a mill and all these other things that you don't exactly need to get started. So, what I have here, I've got 4 bricks, and a base plate. Now I'm doing this because I don't want to ruin this concrete pad that I'm on right now. You can literally just dig a hole in the ground. That I actually used a forge like that for a while when I started. And then you're also going to need something to actually blacksmith on. I've got this piece of 1-inch plate here, steel, but you can use anything from a brick to a log to just a block of steel. I've even seen some people take like an 8-pound sledgehammer and put it halfway into a log and use that, and that actually seems to work pretty well. So, but yeah, basically anything that's semi-flat that you can hit a few times and it won't break. You're gonna need a hammer of any kind. I need to go get a hammer real quick. I'm gonna get a claw hammer just for demonstrative purposes instead of my usual forging hammer. There we go. So I just got a claw hammer, which works relatively the same as a forging hammer. I mean, it's the same tool. It's just not quite as specialized. And you will need a air source. Now, I have this little shop vac here. And it can blow inwards and outwards, so I'll be using the outward function on it. You don't need something as powerful as a shop vac. As a matter of fact, the first forge that I had was, again, a hole in the ground, and then I used a old hair dryer, and that worked for a while. The thing about hair dryers is they usually burn out because unless you have a really long pipe, you get heat feedback to the hair dryer itself. And so that'll burn them out pretty quick. But you can use pretty much any air source, and then just make sure you have some kind of tube on it, metal tube. You can use copper pipe if you want. It'll melt slowly, so you'll have to keep getting more. I just happen to have this piece of steel pipe laying around, so yeah. And then I'll show you guys what kind of shape you actually want to construct for your forge. Now, in terms of fuel, you can use just about anything that burns. You can use coal if you have coal. An easy place to get coal is actually most tractor supplies in the fall. They sell anthracite nut coal, and you can use that. That's what I use now, but you want bituminous coal if you can get it. I'm actually looking at how to acquire some of that now in Cincinnati, where I live. So you can use coal, you can use charcoal. I would not recommend briquettes. They don't get nearly as hot as lump charcoal, hardwood lump charcoal. Eventually I think I'm going to do a video on how I make my own charcoal for starting my coal fires, because anthracite coal is kind of hard to light. You have to build a substantial fire beforehand, and charcoal is just quicker than a wood fire. I think for the purposes of today, though, I'm going to go get some wood from the woods behind my house to just demonstrate that you can use pretty much any burnable fuel. So once I have some of that, I will come back and show you how it works. Alright, so here you guys can see I've gathered some pieces of wood. Now, the wood that you want to use should have a diameter of less than 1 inch. It's a bit counterintuitive, but basically it makes embers faster than big pieces of wood. And so with bigger pieces like logs, or these pieces here, these have about a 2-inch diameter. So I'm going to split those down some just to get them more optimized for what I'm doing here. And then I'll build a fire and let it get a good base of embers before I begin, and then I will show you guys how to use it. So, now is the point where you want to turn the blower on. Kind of pulse it. This blower is actually probably too powerful for this little forge setup here, but that's alright. You want to lay the wood kind of lengthwise so that it takes up more space in the forge. Wood as a fuel source, I would recommend trying to find a different fuel source, just because wood is, it burns very quickly in a forge like this. So, if you can, get charcoal or coal. Alright, so I think we've reached the point where we can begin forging. Now, I'm going to be using a pair of pliers to hold the steel, just for demonstrative purposes. Again, all those things that you see other blacksmiths have, tons of specialized tools and all of that, is certainly helpful, it's certainly nice, but it is not strictly necessary. And so I'm going to just be using these pliers. So, you want to put the your piece of metal here, you want to put it kind of in the bottom center of the fire. And I'm going to put it through this way, just because that's a pretty easy hole right to the bottom of the fire there. And I will turn it back on here. I'm going to be pulsing the blower here because, like I said, it's probably too big for this little setup I've got here. So. And it'll probably be a bit before the steel is warmed up, so I'll see you guys in a few minutes. As I suspected, this blower is much too powerful for this forge. Specifically using wood, it would work a lot better if it was not as powerful, because it would not be blowing all of the embers out, and it wouldn't be using up the fuel in there as quickly. I'm going to go grab some charcoal that I made, just to kind of help keep more fuel in there at one time. But I mean, again, this would work with a smaller blower. And probably, I would say, chopping up the wood shorter would have been a good idea as well, just so it kind of sat down in there more evenly. So, I'll be right back. Let's see how this works. I think this is going to work a lot better. Denser carbon content in charcoal than there is in wood. When you make charcoal, you actually only get about 2/3 of the volume that you had when only about 1/3 of the volume of the wood, or 2/3 is still there, so you do get a lot of material loss there. Oh, that's an issue. Try and fix that. Putting a piece of wood underneath it. Alright, let's see. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to put the steel in there, and I will show you guys when it's hot. So, with the addition of the charcoal, my steel is hot, and essentially you can use the same techniques here as you would with a regular anvil and a regular forge. And so, it really does not take that much to get into blacksmithing. Of course, again, all those bells and whistles do make it easier for sure. But if you really want to, I mean, probably you could do with spending $100 and get a nicer setup than this for sure. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and a comment. Please subscribe. If you guys are interested in future videos, give me a comment. Let me know what you'd like to see. And so yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one.